Hello students, today we are going to look at Tempest, Act 3, Scene 3. This scene takes place in another part of the island where Gonzalo is there, Alonso, Adrian, Francisco, Sebastian, Antonio, and several others. So here Gonzalo in this scene is actually quite tired because they have been moving all around the island in order to search for Ferdinand. So here Gonzalo says, Baal Lakin, I can go no further, sir. My old bones ache. Here's a maze trod. Indeed, through forthrights and meanders, by your patience, I needs must rest me. So Gonzalo says, I swear by Virgin Mary that I cannot go any further. My old bones are aching. We have been walking all through the maze and the circles in order to find Ferdinand. But now I need to take rest if you can give permission. This he says to King Alonso. So Alonso says, old Lord, I cannot blame thee, who am myself attached with weariness to the dulling of my spirit. Sit down and rest. Even here I will put off my hope and keep it no longer for my flatterer. He is drowned whom thus we stray to find. And the sea mocks our frustrate search on land. Well, let him go. So Alonso says, it's not your fault, old Gonzalo, because you are old, so you need rest. And even I am quite uh, devastated from inside. I am quite tired or weary from all the worries that I have in my mind, that it makes me dull. All my faculties are making me dull from inside because we have been searching all through the island for my son Ferdinand, but we are unable to find him. And so let me leave the hope and not make it as a flatterer to me that the hope will flatter me and say that yes, your son is alive, so keep on searching him. Even if you look at the sea near, yeah, in front of us, that sea is like mocking on us, as in this sea only my son has drowned. So I think I should not now keep hope of finding my son, and I should give up the hope and accept this fact that he has drowned in the sea. Antonio, aside to Sebastian, I am right glad that he is so out of hope. So Antonio speaks to Sebastian, taking him aside and saying that I am glad that Alonso has lost all hope of finding his son. Do not for one repulse forego the purpose that you resolve to effect. Then he says to Sebastian and reminds him that, do you remember the plan that we have made? So do not go back or retreat from your plan, and do not hesitate to go ahead and find justice for yourself, because now is the right time to take your to execute your plan. Sebastian aside to Antonio, the next advantage will be take thoroughly. Sebastian says to Antonio again when they were speaking aside that the next opportunity I will use quite thoroughly in order to execute my plan. Antonio aside to Sebastian, let it be tonight. For now they are oppressed with travel. They will not nor cannot use such vigilance as when they were fresh. So Antonio tells Sebastian that today itself at night you can execute your plan, because as it seems by all their faces that all of them are quite depressed from inside, they are discouraged, they are quite tired from the travel, and they cannot retaliate whenever we attack them. And this will be a right opportunity for us to execute our plan, because they all do not look so much fresh or so much energetic as when they were initially. Sebastian aside to Antonio, I say tonight no more. Then Sebastian says, okay, I say that I will carry out my plan tonight. Now don't speak about it anymore. Solemn and strange music. Immediately, some solemn and strange music is heard in the entire island. Alonso, what harmony is this? My good friends, hark. Alonso says that what is this music about? All of you please listen carefully. Gonzalo, marvelous sweet music. Gonzalo says it is extremely a sweet music. Enter Prospero above, invisible. Enter several strange shapes. Bringing in banquet, they dance about it with gentle actions of salutation, and inviting the king and others to eat, they depart. Now, what happens? They see strange figures in front of them. Even Prospero is there, but he is invisible. All the strange figures, they dance. They are of various different shapes. They dance and they bring a banquet of food in front of them, keep it in front of them, and invite them to have the food, and then they vanish away. Alonso, give us kind keepers, heavens, what were these? Then Alonso prays to God, O God, please send us angels to protect us from such strange people. Who were these devil? And what were these? Sebastian, a living drollery. Now I will believe that there are unicorns, that in Arabs there is one tree, the phoenix throne, one phoenix at this hour reigning there. Sebastian says it seems it was a puppet show, as if someone was making them dance with the help of his strings. And it was a puppet show of living persons. Now I will believe by looking at these strange figures, at the stories about unicorns. Who are unicorns? Unicorns are actually, uh, it is believed, they are non existent animal. It is believed that they are having a face of a horse, the body of a horse, and they have horns on their head. Although the entire body and the face and everything is like horse, but they have horns at their heads. So he says that by looking at such figures now, I will believe about the stories that the people told about unicorns. And I also believe now that in Arabia on a tree lives a phoenix bird. Phoenix is a bird which, you can say, dies. When it dies and it is burnt, so from its ashes again it is reborn. It is reincarnated from its ashes. So he says that now I can believe that phoenix is also a bird, as the people told about Arabia, and the tree is a throne for that bird, where it reigns like a monarch, a single king. Antonio, I'll believe both, and what does else want credit come to me, and I'll be sworn it's true, travelers never did lie, though fools at home condemn them. Antonio says, I also believe now in the existence of all these unicorns and this living drollery that I saw in front of me, and about the phoenix also. And if there is any other story that the people are telling us, and others are unable to believe it, they can narrate it to me. And I will swear that I will believe those stories. Because the stories that are travelers, when they move to such places, are actually true, but we who live at home and never go to such places, we condemn them and say that the stories are false. Gonzalo. If in Naples I should report this now, would they believe me? If I should say I saw such islanders, for serious there are people of the island who, though they are of monstrous shape, yet note their manners are more gentle kind than of our human generation, you shall find many nay, almost nay. Gonzalo says, but if I tell this story to the people in Naples, they would never believe it. Will they? Will they believe if I narrate our experience to them? And if I saw that I saw the natives of these islands who were looking like puppets, and they put the banquets in front of us, and they were of such monstrous shapes, and the manners in which they had invited us for the dinner was civil and more gentle than many people of our kind. Such strategies would not be believed in Naples. So, in a way, Gonzalo says if I tell this experience of ours to the people in Naples, none would believe. And they will never be able to believe that the natives of this island are of such monstrous shapes, but still, though they look monstrous in shapes, they are quite civilized in manners, that they had put the banquet in front of us and had mannerfully invited us for the dinner. Prospero aside, honest Lord, thou hast said well, for some of you there present are worse than devils. So Prospero speaks to himself that honest Gonzalo, you have spoken the truth. And because most of us would not believe on the existence of such devils. Then he says that some of the people here are more worse than devils. Alonso, I cannot too much muse such shapes, such gesture, and such sound expressing, although they want the use of tongue, a kind of excellent dumb discourse. Alonso says, I cannot wonder too much of such shapes, such gestures, and such type of symbolization that they gave, the sounds. Although they lack the ability to speak, but they were quite mannerful in their disposition. Prospero aside, praise and departing. So Prospero, who is invisible there, he speaks to himself that be careful how you praise such people. Francisco, they vanished strangely. Francisco said that they had vanished strangely. They were there, but immediately they vanished. Sebastian, no matter since they have left their vines behind, for we have stomachs. Will it please you taste of what is here? Sebastian says, okay, it doesn't matter how they were or what they did, but they have left in front of us such delicious dinner. So, and we are also quite hungry. So, shall we taste the food? Alonso, not I. Alonso says, I will not taste this food because they were quite strange and I am afraid. Gonzalo, faith, sir, you need not fear. When we were boys, who would believe that they were mountaineers, dew lapped like bulls, whose throats had hanging at them wallets of flesh, or they were such men whose heads stood in their breasts, which now we find each putter out of 5, for one will bring us good warrant of. So Gonzalo says, truly, sir, you should have dinner and you should not be afraid. Have faith in God. Because when we were young, then nobody would be able to believe that there were such creatures also whose neck would hang below, the skin of their head would hang below their necks. And which looked like bags to carry tools. It used to look like they were carrying bags in which tools could be put. So these masses of flesh looked like big lumps, big humps or bulls hanging on their necks. Nobody believed that they were men who had heads in their chests. Because it was strange for us also that impossible stories were told that they were also men who had head on their chests. Now we hear stories with proofs given by every traveler who has traveled abroad after taking loans with an interest. So then Gonzalo says now we can believe easily that what the travelers used to tell us about their experience when they used to travel at such places are actually true. So in a way, Gonzalo is consoling Alonso that there is no harm in having the food and there is no need to fear, because when they were in school days they used to hear stories which were quite strange, in which they could hear about the people staying on mountains which had heavy skin or muscles hanging down their throats, which looked like bags in which tools could be kept, and they used to look like big lumps of bulls hanging around their neck. And even people could not believe that there used to be human beings who carry their head on their chest. So now they could easily believe these stories which were told by the travelers, as they have themselves seen such strange monstrous shapes. Alonso, I will stand to and feed, although my last no matter, since I feel the best is past. Brother, my lord the Duke, stand to and do as we. So Alonso says that I will get ready and eat, okay, as you say, even though this would be my last meal, because after this, I feel the best part of my life is over after my son's loss. So, brother, my lord, the Duke, you also follow my example and start eating. He is telling to Antonio that now you are the Duke of Milan. So, you also come and have dinner with me. So, in a way, Alonso is saying that now I can believe such stories and I will have the food. I'm ready to eat it. But this would be probably my last dinner because my best days are gone now after my son's death. So he invites Antonio also to come and have dinner with him. Thunder and lightning enter area like a harpy, claps his wings upon the table, and with a quaint device the banquet vanishes. Immediately as they were getting ready to have that food, Ariel appears in the form of a harpy. Who is a harpy? We'll speak about it. That harpy moves its wings or feathers over the food, and all the food vanishes away. See, harpy is what? It is a mythical monster. According to the myth, it is said that it is a monster who has the body of a woman and the wings and claws of a bird. So that means a harpy is a figure who is a monstrous figure, but the body of a woman and the claws and feathers of birds. Ariel, you are three men of sin, whom destiny that had to instrument this lower world and what is in it, the never satiated sea, had caused to belch you up, and on this island where man doth not inhabit. You amongst men being most unfit to live. I have made you mad, and even with such like valor men hang and drown their proper selves. Ariel, after vanishing the dinner, says that you three people are sinners over here. To whom is he speaking? To Antonio, Alonso, and Sebastian. He says that this world and all that is in it are actually in the control of destiny, which has caused this insatiable sea. Insatiable means a never satisfied sea. The sea always moves up with its high tides and always picks up some or the other men and swallows it up, and people drown in the sea and they vanish away. So he says that even this insatiable sea first swallowed you up and then it belched you out. Even the sea was not ready to engulf you people up and had thrown you on this part of this island. You are not fit to live among human beings. You people are not fit to be called human beings because the sin that you have committed is out of the world. So he says that I have caused you to become mad with the wild impulse that makes men kill themselves by hanging or by drowning. So Ariel is just poking them and saying that you three people are the sinners, and destiny is now ready to take revenge from you. And due to the decision of the destiny, even this insatiable sea, the sea which is never satisfied and always tries to swallow and just drown the people, has also belched you out. Even the sea was not ready to engulf you people and has thrown you on this part of the island, which shows that you people are not fit to live among human beings also, because this island does not have any human beings. And now I have made you people make mad and have thrown you in such a situation that you people will be forced to kill yourselves either by drowning or by hanging. Alonso, Sebastian, and the king and Antonio, they draw their swords. You fools, I and my fellows are ministers of fate. The elements of whom your swords are tempered may as well wound the loud winds or with be mocked at stabs. Kill the still closing waters as diminish one dowel that's in my plume. My fellow ministers are like invulnerable. If you could hurt, your swords are now too messy for your strength and will not be uplifted. But remember, for that's my business to you, that you three from Milan did supplant good Prospero, exposed unto the sea with had requited him and his innocent child, for which foul deed the powers delaying not forgetting have incensed the seas and shores, all the creatures. So what happens is that Alonso, Sebastian, and all the other people, they were quite angry and they took out their swords in order to attack Ariel. Immediately, Ariel says that you people are so foolish that even my companions and my messengers are so powerful. We are the messengers of fate, and you cannot hurt us with your swords. You cannot damage even a particle of our soft feathers. With the help of these swords, you can uh, destroy the. You can try to wound. You cannot even wound the roaring winds, nor can you stab the waters, which would always come together. Even if you try to cut out the water, even the water waves will come together again. If you try to cut the clouds or the sky, they will come together again. Even the roaring winds would never be cut by you. Similar is the case with us, that not even a single particle of our feather cannot be destroyed by your sword. If you try to take your swords and attack on us, your swords have become too heavy that now you cannot pick them up. But remember that all three of you, who were the main sinners who had driven Prospero out of Milan along with his daughter and had thrown them into the, you can say, high tides of the sea. The sea has punished you for your crime by causing the shipwreck. At that time, the fate had seen everything, although the justice had been delayed. But the fate has never forgotten, the nature has never forgotten your sins. So your punishment was just postponed at that time, and now is the time to give you the punishment for all the crime that you people had committed. So that is why you were robbed of your son. Your son has been snatched from you forever. And against your peace, that thee of thy son Alonso they have bereft, and do pronounce by me lingering perdition, worse than any death can be at once. Shall step by step attend you and your ways, whose wraths to guard you from, which here in this most desolate isle else falls upon your heads, is nothing but hard sorrow and a clear life ensuing. So he says that that is why your son Ferdinand has been lost from you, and now you will never get back your son. There is only one way in which you all people can be saved from the rage of nature, and that is, the way is sincere repentance. You should regret, you should feel sorry, and you should ask forgiveness from Prospero. That is why after that only you can get a good life in future. And if you fail to do that, the fury of the avenging power is ready to take your lives, and it will descend on your heads in the barren island. He vanishes in thunder, then to soft music enter the shapes again and dance with mocks and mouse and carrying out the table. As soon as Ariel had finished his speech, he vanishes off, and then again those monstrous figures again come back. They dance again, but this time they are mocking on the people who are sitting there, and then they take away the table. Prospero aside, bravely the figure of this harpy has done. Hast thou performed, my Ariel? A grace it had, devouring of my instructions, that thou nothing bated in what thou hadst to say. So with good life and observation, strange my meaner ministers. Their several kinds have done my higher charms work, and these mine enemies are all knit up in their distractions. They are now in my power, and in these fits I leave them, while I visit young Ferdinand, whom they suppose is drowned, and his and mine loved darling. Now Prospero says that he is speaking to himself aside and says, my dear Ariel, you have performed the role of harpy so very well, splendidly, and the beauty it had with when you devoured the banquet was quite splendid. And the speech that you gave to them, to these people, was not separate from my instructions that I gave you. Even your attendants have performed very well. My powerful magic has worked. And these, my enemies, are entangled in the state of frenzy and madness. And Now they are under my control. Thank you, Ariel, for doing this. I will leave them in this state. And while I go to visit the young Ferdinand, for whom they are thinking that he has drowned and they have lost him, because I have to look at some other preparations for Ferdinand and my beloved daughter. So I'll go there and meet them. Till then, let them remain in the state of madness. He exits. Then Gonzalo, I, the name of something holy, sir, why stand you in this strange stare? Now Gonzalo says, in the name of heaven, sir, why are you staring all of these things very strangely? Alonso, oh, it is monstrous, monstrous. Methought the billows spoke and told me of it. The winds did sing it to me, and the thunder, that deep and dreadful organ pipe, pronounced the name of Prospero. It did pass my trespass. Therefore, my son, the ooze is bedded, and I'll seek him deeper than ever. Plummet sounded, and with him there lie mudded. Alonso says, oh, it is something very monstrous, very dangerous, very awful that I have never seen. It seemed as if the waves of the sea were speaking to me, and they had taken the name of Prospero, uh, whom I had banished out of the kingdom of Naples. Oh, sorry, Milan. It seemed as if the thunder was the wind and the thunder were constantly speaking into my ears as they blew. And the thunder was as a dreadful organ pipe that was blowing. That is why my son is buried in the mud because of my sin, in the mud below the sea. And I will search for him deeper into the sea and will remain dead along with him in that muddy bottom of the sea. Sebastian, but one fiend at a time, I'll fight the legions over. Sebastian says, I can take on the fiends, fiends means enemies, one at a time, and I'll fight them all. Antonio, I'll be thy second. Antonio says, I'll support you in your fight against the evil spirits. Now, Sebastian and Antonio, they both exit. Gonzalo says, all three of them are desperate, their great guilt, like poison given to work, a great time after now begins to bite the spirits. I do beseech you that all of the suppler joints follow them swiftly and hinder them from what this ecstasy may now provoke them to. So Gonzalo says all of these three people are so much excited and they have gone into the state of frenzy that the guilt of the heinous sin is being seen on their faces also. And it has begun to suffer them, to torment them. So he says that I request you, those of the other people who are quite strong and have strong bones and are not old like me, please follow these three men where they are going. They may not do something absurd. Without delay, please prevent them from doing anything that will harm them. Then Adrian says, follow, I pray you. Adrian says to rest of the people also that follow. I request you people, let us follow these three people, Antonio, Sebastian and Alonso, who have gone in a state of madness and their heinous sin is torturing them from inside. So here in this scene, the scene has finished here. In this scene we came to know that Ariel had come in the form of a harpy. Harpy is just having a body of a woman but the wings and claws of birds, who had made them realize that what type of sin they had done, for which nature is ready to take revenge from them. And then all of the three, Alonso, Antonio and Sebastian, they have gone in a state of madness. Their sin is torturing them from inside, and Gonzalo is afraid they may do something absurd, and so he asks the rest of the people to follow them so that they may not do anything such that it can harm them. So in this scene we have seen harpy, then unicorn is having a body of a horse but has horns on the head. And then we had seen the dilapidated type of mountaineer people who had a big bag of skin hanging along their throat, for which Gonzalo had told. So these three special type of meanings you will have to learn in this scene. Plus, we have seen that how the monstrous figures had come in different shapes and placed a banquet in front of the people, for which Sebastian has said that it was a living drollery, that is, a puppet of human beings. So, these are some of the words which are very important in the scene. Hope you have understood this scene, and if you have understood, press the like button and subscribe to our channel. Thank you.